Good day, YouTube. I have a question that was asked of me, Michael, M-I-C-A-L. I hope I pronounced that. She wants to know what it takes to be promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant in the Air Force. And that was the last enlisted grade that I had before I crossed over into the officer world. I'll give my experience, how I made that happen. So I'm also going to share a website here. It's called About Careers through the U.S. military. The link is going to be in the description. So you can look at any rank, enlisted, and how to get promoted. So let's begin for E5, Staff Sergeant in the Air Force. You have to have 3 years time in service. What does that mean? You have to have been in the Air Force at least, at the earliest, 3 years. I've never seen that happen, but that's the requirement. You've had to have had at least 6 months time in grade of E4, Senior Airman. And I have seen where people they put on Senior Airman, they test to be promoted because you have to take a test, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. And then they're eligible 6 months later for Staff Sergeant if they pass the test, 2 tests, with sufficient scores. You also have to be a 5 skill level, and let me talk about that real quick. Skill levels in the Air Force. A 1 level is, let's just say you just finished basic training and you get to your tech school. You haven't been trained. That's why you're at your tech school. When you graduate from your tech school, whatever job it is, you're going to be an apprentice, which is a 3 skill level. 5 skill level is craftsman. This is after a few years of OJT, finishing your career development course tests, CDCs, you'll get your 5 level. So when I was a firefighter, my first job in the Air Force, I received my 5 skill level after being at the fire department maybe a year and a half or so. Don't recall. It's been a long time ago. Once you have your 5 skill level, then you're going to test for Staff Sergeant. By then you should be Senior Airman, E4, and then you'll test. So there's also a 7 skill level, which is a supervisor, and a 9 skill level, which is a manager. So what does the test consist of? There are 2 tests. The first one is Promotion Fitness Examination, PFE. 100 questions, multiple choice, and that is General Air Force. It could be General Air Force, supervisory subjects, history, leadership, NCO, non-commissioned officer responsibilities, some first aid, customs and courtesies. The next test, also 100 questions, Specialty Knowledge Test, SKT. 100 questions, multiple choice, specific to your career field, to your job. Let's say you're a firefighter or medical technician. It's going to be on your job. How well do you know your job? So once you take those tests the same day, down the road, maybe 3 months, 6 months, I don't know the exact time, the results come out, and the Air Force is going to have an amount, percentage that they can promote, and you have to be above that line. That is how you get promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant. So here's what I did. I retrained into personnel, and what I did is I had to do the promotion fitness examination, 1 test times 100 questions, but they multiplied that times 2. And the reason was because I had just retrained. Obviously, I was not the expert in personnel when I tested for staff. That is a good thing if it just so happens to be that way. In most cases, it isn't. Maybe that's why I made Staff Sergeant the first time, because I did well on the PFE and they doubled my score. Now, I'm also going to put a second link, and that's going to have information on the Guard. The Reserve is going to be very similar to that second link. And the reason is when you're in the Guard and Reserve, you don't have to take a test to get promoted. You have to have your professional military education. So to get promoted to Staff Sergeant, like Michael wanted to know, you also have to have your PME completed, professional military education. And in that case, that's Airman Leadership School. When I went through ALS, it was approximately 4 months. I don't know if it's still the same length or not. You complete that, your 5 skill level. Once your line number comes up to get promoted to Staff Sergeant, that date could be 6 months down the road, That's when you actually sew on the rank of Staff Sergeant. The other ranks are some similar. Airmen to A1C to Senior Airmen are automatic. There's no tests for those. So there's going to be a test for Staff Sergeant, for Tech Sergeant, for Master Sergeant. Now, for the senior NCO ranks, Senior Master Sergeant and Chief, it is slightly different. And I'm not going to speak about that because there's also a board that comes into consideration. At that point, you should have your Community College of the Air Force degree, which is a requirement now. In the past, it wasn't. So I'm not going to speak too much about that because these websites here can answer those questions and they're well versed, as opposed to myself. It's been a long time, and sometimes, often, things change with promotions and requirements. So if you ever have any questions, let me know. I can't make a video for every single question. The reason I could today is because I'm at my roommate's place and he's not here, and I stay here 2 nights out of the week to work out and to rest, and I had some time to make a video. I hope it's been very helpful. Always educate yourself, do the research, ask the questions, and then make the decision that's best for you. Take care.